favor, vote aye. All those opposed, vote nay. Record, Mr. Clerk.
Voting aye, Senator Chambers, Kulowski, Penzing, Brooks, Vargas, Wayne, and Wishart. Voting no, Senator Albright, Blood, Bostelman, Brosh, Brewer, Breezy, Clemens, Craighead, Crawford, Hebke, Erdman, Geist, Groney, Halloran, Hilgers, Hilkeman, Hughes, Colderman, Keene, Lindstrom, Linehan, Lowe, McAllister, McDonald, Morandi, Reapy, Shear, Smith, Stinner, Walls, Watermeyer, and Williams. Vote is 6 ayes, 32 nays on the adoption of the floor amendment, Mr. President.
The amendment fails. Raise the call.
Mr. President, the next amendment I have, Senator Chambers, floor amendment 3.
Senator Chambers, you're recognized to open on your amendment.
Thank you. Mr. President, members of the legislature, this amendment would strike choose life and insert rape is no laughing matter. I'm going to read a little something from Roe versus Wade, and it'll be clear what I'm reading, but there's something farther along in this that I want to get to. Judge Blackmun is talking about history. In this segment, he's talking about the common law. It is undisputed that at common law, abortion performed before, quote, quickening, unquote, the first recognizable movement of the fetus in utero, appearing usually from the 16th to the 18th week of pregnancy, was not an indictable offense. The absence of a common law crime for pre-quickening abortion appears to have developed from a confluence of earlier philosophical, theological, and civil and canon law concepts of when life begins. These disciplines variously approach the question in terms of the point at which the embryo or fetus became, quote, formed, unquote, or recognizably human, or in terms of when a, quote, person, unquote, came into being, that is, infused with a, quote, soul, unquote, or, quote, animated, unquote. A loose consensus evolved in early English law that these events occurred at some point between conception and live birth. This was, quote, mediate animation, unquote. Now get this, all the ladies, I want you to see what the male-dominated Catholic Church and the Catholic Fathers, variously known as angelic doctors, cherubic doctors, including Thomas Aquinas, thought. Christian theology and canon law came to fix the point of animation at 40 days for a male and 80 days for a female. So let's say they didn't believe in abortion before you got a soul, animation. After 40 days, you couldn't abort a male fetus. You could abort a female one for 80 days. You weren't even animated. That's church law. You all need to read what these churches and that other nonsense is found in their doctrines, their dogmas, and whatnot. Some things you all probably have come to believe were there forever, were not. You know what the ascension is. You know what the virgin birth is. You know what transubstantiation is. How long ago do you think some of these things came into being? You don't even inquire, because the ones who tell you what to think told you this is the way it is, and this is the way it's going to be. Well, what this amendment that I'm offering is designed to stir your pure minds. Rape is no laughing matter, and it's similar to what Senator Pansing Brooks had been discussing earlier. I look up there and I see Senator, what's his name? Speak no name, bear no blame, Senator Morante walking. Now suppose I had called a white female official a liar at a public hearing. I called her a liar. You know what the Lincoln Journal-Star would say? Senator Chambers should know better, especially when it was shown that he was wrong, that the woman told the truth. The World Herald would make their editorials. I've watched the way they editorialize on me. Senator Morante called a woman a liar, said a statement she made was absolutely false. I mentioned it on the floor. The media didn't talk about it. If I called some woman official a liar, you think they wouldn't write about it? You think there wouldn't be editorials? I said I would touch on this order to show cause that was presented. There's some idiot who says, I don't live where I live. And because the standards are so forgiving for filing a challenge to a person's qualification, action under the rules of the legislature, Rule 10, must be triggered when somebody files a petition, but they're also required to serve notice on the person being challenged. And they have to have a notarized statement showing what they call proof of service. Those are what are called jurisdictional principles. If they are lacking, the tribunal, whatever it is, has no jurisdiction to address whatever the issue is. Those things were missing in this case. The committee has hired a former judge of the Nebraska Supreme Court who knows this. Rather than send a show cause order, they should have just dismissed it because they know that those are fatal defects. I was not served. There was no notarized proof of service. It should be over. But you know what? Since I'm a member of the legislature, signed on to be subject to the rules, in the first few lines of what I wrote, I told why the thing should be dismissed. But I went on to write several pages, double-spaced, of course, with documentation. That shouldn't have been necessary. Even if I had conceded and said, I will waive the lack of jurisdiction, I could not do that. Jurisdiction is not a question of what the parties are interested in. Jurisdiction is a matter of law. Either jurisdiction exists or it doesn't, and jurisdiction is the power under the law of a tribunal to determine the issues of the matter placed before it. Now, this idiot has had his 15 minutes of fame that Andy Warhol said that in the future everybody would enjoy. But he went beyond fame in a state like Nebraska. He talked about world fame. In the future, everybody will have his or her 15 minutes of world fame. That's the way things are done when a black man is the target. I always tell them, bring your worst or your best, whatever it is you want to bring. You're not going to make me do things. You're not going to make me say things. You're not going to make me stop doing what I want to do. I'm a grown man. I'm not your child. Let's say that the legislators are so upset with me, they vote and say that I don't live where I live. Just say that they're that upset. And a court says, well, you didn't even have jurisdiction here. You violated your own rules. You violated the statute. These are things that must be present, and they're not present. So how can you say you had